Welcome. You're tuned into Tangled Threads. If you're digging our content, hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you. All right, folks, you won't believe this, but I have to share. I'm going to use fake names, but here we go. 2 months into our marriage, and there I was, feeling like something was off. Call it intuition, gut feeling, whatever. Alicia, my wife, and I had always been tight, best friends even before we got hitched. But that evening, she casually said she was off to our local store. No big deal, right? Well, before heading out myself, I texted her, "Gonna pop out for a bit. Might not be home when you get back, but won't be too long." No response. Whatever, I thought. People miss texts. But here's the kicker. As I was driving past that very store, her car was nowhere to be seen. I tried not to jump to conclusions. Maybe she parked around the back? Maybe she went somewhere else? I did my thing, and on the way back, still no sign of her car. Now my spidey senses were tingling. Back home, I tried calling her a couple of times. Nada. In a bout of worry, I even rang her mom. Yeah, I know. Long story short, Alicia calls me sounding all flustered, going on about how she also dropped by a friend's after the store and her text didn't go through. It just sounded off. Fast forward, I decide to install a dash cam in her car. Told her it was because of some recent accidents in the area. But between you and me, I had to know what was going on. I emphasized to Alicia that it wasn't some high-tech wireless thing. Just a basic cam, for safety. Days rolled by. The first time she went out, the cam footage was pretty innocuous. But the second time? Oh boy. She pulled up to this rundown-looking house, and who comes out? This average-looking dude. Honestly, I burst out laughing. Of all the people she could have potentially been sneaking around with, it was this guy. It felt like a joke. I mean, no shade on him, but I always imagined if Alicia were to ever even think of looking elsewhere, it'd be for a Hollywood A-lister or something. After laughing off the initial shock, anger seeped in. Grabbing my biggest baseball bat, an overreaction, I admit, I drove over. Pounded on his door, and when he answered, I may have took it a bit far. He opened the door, looking all scruffy and wary. "Can I help you?" "Are you kidding me?" I spat out, sizing him up. "You're the guy? Seriously?" Alicia suddenly appeared behind him, her face white as a sheet. "Lucas, what are you doing here?" "You know damn well why," I growled. The AP guy looked between us, realization hitting. "Oh shit, you're the husband?" "Look, man, I didn't know she was married," I scoffed, gripping the bat tighter. "You expect me to believe that?" Alicia stepped forward, hands raised. "Lucas, please, let's just talk." Those words. I don't know what it was, but when she spoke those words, something snapped. I grabbed the guy and pulled him down his front porch into his yard. "What's your deal, man?" He tried to pull away, but I kept my grip firm. "You really have no idea, huh?" My voice was laced with contempt. Before he could respond, Alicia emerged from the house, her face pale, eyes wide in shock. "Lucas!" she exclaimed, rushing towards us. Ignoring her, I kept my focus on the man. Alicia stepped in, her voice desperate. "Lucas, please, this isn't how to handle this." Ignoring her plea, I tightened my grip on the man's shirt. "Stay away from my wife." The man, trying to keep his composure, replied, "Had I known, I would have stayed far away, trust me." I wanted to trust him, but my world had been turned upside down. The anger, the betrayal, it was all consuming. But violence wasn't the answer. After a tense few moments, I let him go, pushing him away slightly. "This isn't over," I warned, my voice cold and steely. He rubbed his neck, nodding slowly. "Understood." Alicia, tears streaking her face, reached out to me. "Lucas, please, let's just go home." But in that moment, home felt like a distant concept, lost amidst the storm of deception. With the tension still thick in the air, I finally turned to Alicia. The pain in her eyes was evident, but right then, my heart was too hardened by betrayal to truly see it. "We're going home," I said coldly, the words laced with an unspoken finality. Alicia's voice quivered as she replied, "Lucas, please, can we just talk about this?" "Talk? Is that what you were doing here?" I shot back, gesturing to the unkempt house behind her. The accusation hung heavy between us. "I never meant for any of this to happen," she whispered, her voice breaking. "Save it," I snapped, cutting her off. "I'll be at home. You should be there too, to pack your things." The implication was clear. I wasn't about to let this slide without consequences. She looked like she wanted to say more, to plead, to explain. But in the face of my icy demeanor, her words failed her. I walked away, leaving her standing in the yard, the weight of our crumbling marriage pressing down on us both. As I drove back, the reality of the situation began to set in. Our love, once strong and passionate, was now tainted with distrust and hurt. But decisions had to be made and emotions had to be faced. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Things would never be the same again. The aftermath? I told Alicia to pack her things and head to her mom's. I even called her an Uber. Didn't let her take the car since I paid for it. Yep, I went there. A week later, she got a neat little package from me. Divorce papers. Life's weird, huh? The person you trust the most throws you away. But sometimes you just have to laugh at the absurdity of it all. Update. Hey everyone, Lucas here. I never imagined I'd need to share this, but I think it's important to keep you all in the loop after the roller coaster I've been through. To say that the past months have been a nightmare would be an understatement. If you remember my last post about confronting Alicia's AP, things took an even darker turn afterward. After our big blowout, Alicia and I were both heated. Emotions were high, and we were on the path to divorce. But then, out of the blue, I got slapped with a charge I could have never anticipated. The R word. Yes, you read that right. My own wife was trying to pin such a heinous crime on me. The allegation shook me to my core. Not only was it completely baseless, but the very idea that someone I'd once trusted implicitly could make such an accusation was heartbreaking. Then came that day. The day that'll be forever etched in my mind. Alicia's attorney, a sharp-suited woman with hawk eyes, strutted to the front, a smug expression on her face. She presented what she claimed was the clinching evidence, a torn piece of clothing she insisted was from the night of the alleged incident. Holding it up, she said, "This, ladies and gentlemen, proves the violent nature of the encounter." The courtroom buzzed. I could feel eyes on me, judging, condemning, but I remained calm. You see, I had an ace up my sleeve. My attorney, ever the rock star, requested a moment to confer. He then played a video from our home's security footage. It was from weeks before the alleged incident. The video clearly showed Alicia snagging that very piece of clothing on a nail in our hallway, tearing it. After what felt like years, the verdict finally came in. Not guilty. The relief was palpable, but it wasn't without scars. The allegations had taken a toll on my reputation, my friendships, and my mental health. But in the end, truth prevailed. As for the divorce, Alicia got no alimony. Given the circumstances and her false accusations, the court didn't see it fitting for her to receive anything. Last I heard, she moved back with her parents, probably trying to piece her life back together. Life's been a mix of rebuilding and healing since then. Some days are harder than others, but with time I hope to move past this chapter and find peace again. Here are some comments he received on the post. Comment 1. Wow, Lucas, I just read through your entire ordeal and I must say that was quite a journey. First and foremost, I'm truly sorry for the heartbreak you've experienced. No one should have to endure such a betrayal from a partner, let alone false allegations that can irreparably damage one's reputation. However, I would caution against acting on pure emotion, as it can sometimes make situations even more complicated. While it's totally understandable to be hurt and want answers, perhaps confronting Alicia's AP with a baseball bat wasn't the best approach. Finding a neutral ground to discuss things and seeking therapy could have been a better first step. Wishing you strength and peace as you move forward. Comment 2. Lucas, man, I felt every word you wrote. Betrayal, especially from someone you loved and trusted, is like a punch in the gut. I can't even begin to imagine the whirlwind of emotions you felt. But I commend you for standing your ground in court. It's essential, though, to remember that retaliation can sometimes lead us down paths we might later regret. A dash cam, ambushing her AP, while it might provide temporary satisfaction, it can escalate things and make them even more complicated. Looking forward, I hope you find some therapeutic ways to deal with the hurt and move on in a more positive direction. Comment 3. Reading your post, Lucas, was truly heartbreaking. While I'm genuinely relieved to hear you were exonerated in court, the entire situation underscores the importance of communication in relationships. It sounds like you both made mistakes, and while some actions are inexcusable, it might be worth considering how things could have been handled differently. Instead of surveillance and confrontation, perhaps open dialogue earlier on could have changed the course of events. Remember, healing is a journey, and while it's okay to feel hurt and anger, it's also essential to find forgiveness, not necessarily for her, but for your peace. I swear I just get more impressed with these every day. And Lucas, chill with the bats, man. Anyways, what do you think? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. When you subscribe, click the notification bell. Click here for more Tangled threads.